What's up guys, AD back with another Destiny Child video, and in today's video everyone, we are going to be overviewing an updated guide for the Strigoy Ragna Break event, of course thanks to Saturn once more, as well as after overviewing those new teams, I'll be sharing with you all additional tips to help you all with the sustainability here in the Strigoy Ragna Break event, as of course I do know level 30 is pretty rough, so hopefully this video does help you out far more than the last, as Strigoy was actually changed to have crit rate nerfed, so a units like Lupin or Pantheon won't be useful at all during this Ragna Break event. Now before we get started everyone, make sure to leave a like on this video, as well as be sure to subscribe to the channel, as we are very close to 4,000 subscribers, as well as be sure to check out the links down below to channel memberships if you're interested in further supporting the channel, and of course a huge thank you to all of the members that have joined so far. Now with all of that being said, let's get started here with the second guide overview for the Strigoy Ragna Break events. Now I'll be sure to put the new teams up on screen here for this Ragna Break raid. Now for the first team here on the left hand side, we have the Anemone team, which does consist of Courtesan Bathory, Failnaught, Anemone, Teresa, and Kresnik. Now what you'll notice across all of these team compositions here today is that Kresnik is definitely a priority for this event. Since Lupin has been nerfed to the ground for this Ragna Break, you'll definitely need Kresnik, and most importantly you will need Kresnik's drive skill due to Strigoy's boss skill set, in which she does have Thorn Shield, which will deal 578 damage for each attack during fever time, which will definitely kill your attacker if you aren't running Kresnik. So she is very highly prioritized for this event now due to this, as well as the crit rate nerf, so hence why she is on every team composition now. So to continue on, we do have Courtesan Bathory, Failnaught, Anemone, Teresa, and Kresnik. Now you will be running Kresnik leader skill for this event, and for the skill order of these units everyone, we are running Courtesan Bathory tap slide slide, Failnaught slide, Anemone slide tap tap, Teresa slide tap tap, and of course Kresnik slide tap tap if you do have her ignited, and if you don't then be sure to run her on slide tap. As for the recommended ignition, it's recommended to ignite your fire type attacker, specifically Courtesan Bathory, as the ignition for the attacker will be very helpful for this event. As for the other recommended ignitions, we have Anemone 3-star ignition, and of course Kresnik full ignition, since during her release you will have the opportunity to receive some cores in return if you do ignite her during this Ragna Break. And of course Kresnik will be very useful for future Ragna Break events, so why not get this ignition out of the way if you can afford it. As for the attack stat order, so this is in which of your units do have the first, second, and third highest attack on the team. Of course the highest attack should be your attacker in Courtesan Bathory. As for the second highest attack, you should have Kresnik, and for the third highest attack you should have Teresa. As for the puppet recommendations everyone, they are on screen. Of course the puppets aren't too important for this event, but if you would like some more sustainability, make sure to use the recommended puppets. For example, for Courtesan Bathory here we have the Daphne puppet, or you can use the Demeter uncommon puppet, which is very strong as well. This will apply healing onto your attacker, and if you do happen to have the rare puppet in Daphne, this will heal 2 allies, which is very amazing as well. As for Failnaught, Teresa, and Kresnik, it's recommended to use the Judas uncommon puppet, since this puppet does apply a 1000 HP barrier to your units once they do activate their slide skill, so definitely a very strong sustainability puppet yet again. And for Anemone here, we do have the uncommon Dano puppet, which will heal your units once Anemone does use her slide skill, so she'll be able to heal from her slide as well as her tap skill with this puppet. As for the second row of recommended puppets everyone, we have the Demeter uncommon puppet for Courtesan Bathory, so she can heal when using her attacks. As for Failnaught, Teresa, and Kresnik, we have the common Red Watcher puppet, and for Anemone here we have the Ice King Dragon common puppet. As for these common puppets, they do apply barrier on slide, so a very strong set here for more sustainability. As for the tooltips of this specific team here, we have first of all, Courtesan Bathory must be ignited to full before she deals decent amount of damage at all. Second here, Teresa should be ignited to 2 stars for more consistency in landing buffs for Courtesan Bathory. And third here, if Courtesan Bathory has a vampirism puppet equipped, the overall chances of survival will greatly increase. As for the fourth tip here, we have slide tap tap for ignited Kresnik, and slide tap for the unignited version. As for the next team here on the right hand side, everyone, we have the Fire Rusalka team, which is pretty common in the ranking leaderboards right now and happens to be the team I'm running as well. So we do have here Cartas and Bathory, Failnaught, Rusalka, Teresa, and Kresnik, with of course the Kresnik leader skill. As for the skill order, everyone, we have Cartas and Bathory on tap slide slide, Failnaught slide, Rusalka slide tap tap, Teresa slide tap tap, and of course Kresnik slide tap tap if fully ignited, and you'll be using slide tap if unignited. As for the suggested ignition, we have the suggestions of Cartas and Bathory full ignition, and of course Kresnik full ignition. As for the attack stat order of this team, everyone, we have Cartas and Bathory first, Kresnik second, and Teresa third. As for the recommended puppets, they're pretty much the same compared to the last team, so make sure to use these puppets accordingly if you would like to apply more sustainability onto your team. As for the tooltips of this team lacks healing, therefore you must have the supporting vampirism options and life support puppets. Even then, there remains a high chance of a team wipe. Stick to Anemone's team if death is an issue. And second of all here, slide tap tap for ignited Kresnik, slide tap for the unignited. Now of course Saturn is recommending using puppets here for this team if you are struggling with survivability. So if you do happen to have some of these puppets, make sure to equip them onto your units, as of course these are low rarity. But if you don't happen to have access to puppets just yet, I'll be sure to dive into some healing tips later on with your equipment that may come in handy and should be more accessible to those of you that can't clear the spacewalk just yet. And I almost forgot to mention the drive skill order for these two teams. For the Anemone team, you'll be using Teresa drive first hand. As for the second drive, you'll be using Anemone, and when heading into fever time, you'll be using Kresnik. As for the Fire Rusalka team, you'll be driving Teresa first, Rusalka second, and Kresnik third, heading into fever time. As for the next set of team recommendations, everyone, first up here we have the Senga team on the left hand side, with the team consisting of Cartas and Bathory, Failnaught, Senga, Teresa, and Kresnik. Of course, we are running the Kresnik leader skill here, and for the skill order, we have Cartas and Bathory tap slide slide, Failnaught slide, Senga slide tap tap, Teresa slide tap tap, and of course Kresnik slide tap tap if ignited, and slide tap if unignited. As for the suggested ignition, we have Cartas and Bathory fully ignited, as well as Kresnik full ignition, and for the attack stat order, we have Cartas and Bathory first, Kresnik second, and Teresa third. As for the drive order of this team, everyone, we have Teresa drive first, Failnaught second, and Kresnik heading into fever time. As for the puppet preference, everyone, of course they're very similar to the last two team recommendations, so make sure to follow these as well if you need more sustainability. As for the tooltips here, Senga is here to fill the role of a speed buffer. First of all, this team lacks healing, therefore you must have the supporting options for vampirism as well as life supporting puppets. And of course, like mentioned previously, if you are struggling with this team, the Anemone team will probably be the best option. As for the second tip here, slide tap tap for the ignited Kresnik, and slide tap for the unignited Kresnik. As for the final team recommendation, everyone, we have the newbie team, which is a low investments team comp. First up, we have Cartas and Bathory, Neptune, Anemone, Newbie Mona, and Kresnik, with of course the Kresnik leader skill. As for the skill order of this team composition, everyone, we have Cartas and Bathory tap slide slide, Neptune slide, Anemone slide tap tap, Newbie Mona slide tap tap, and Kresnik slide tap tap or slide tap depending on your ignition. As for the attack stat order, everyone, we have Cartas and Bathory first, Kresnik second, and Anemone third. As for the drive order, everyone, we have Anemone drive into Neptune drive and ending off with Kresnik into fever time. As for the puppet preference, everyone, of course they're very similar to the previous team comps, so make sure to follow as shown on screen. As for the tool tips here, we have the first tip of using universal supports is a great choice when you lack element specific support characters, and second here, slide tap tap for ignited Kresnik and slide tap for the unignited. So with the new team recommendations out of the way, everyone, I did want to recommend some supporters that may come in handy for your teams if you are still struggling with the survivability even after adding in Kresnik. Now first up here, we do have Sexy Santa Leda, which is a very strong character for the Ragna Break events if you are lacking sustainability. So as we can see here on screen, Leda's slide skill does happen to grant barrier, which is very helpful during the events. Now of course this will interfere with Kresnik's debuff barrier, so do keep that in mind. Now the most important aspect of Leda's kit would be her drive skill here. Now Leda's Christmas does apply a barrier which does absorb 2000 damage before HP is affected to all allies in your team, so that's definitely very helpful, and this does last for 20 seconds long. And most importantly here, you will be able able to regen 271 HP for 3 allies, prioritizing the lowest HP for 18 seconds long. So the healing here on the drive skill is definitely very strong, and I would recommend to run Leda on your team composition if you are struggling with, even after adding in Anemone as well as Kresnik onto your team comps. Now, of course, like mentioned in the last team composition, you can definitely use a unit like Neptune or Nubimona, as of course they do provide healing as well, and of course Nubimona's tap skill does provide vampirism. But I still did want to recommend Leda, as of course she is a very strong healing unit, and of course the barriers are very helpful as well. So definitely make sure to give Leda a shot if you still are lacking sustainability. Next up here, everyone, I wanted to discuss equipment for this raid that should be very helpful for this event. Now, starting out with the weapon here, I would definitely recommend you all to roll the A or S rank option here on your weapon, specifically the third option as you can see here on screen. So we do have the A rank version here, which is when attacking with slide skills, recover a certain percent of damage as HP. So you'll want to roll the slide skill version if you are using a slide skill based character. Now, if you are using a tap skill based character, you'll want to roll the A rank version, so your units will heal when they are using their tap skills. But of course, if you are using the commonly used Courtesan Battery, then you'll need to roll this option here on screen as described when attacking with slide skills, so Courtesan Battery will heal when she is attacking with her slide skill. Now, the best version of this option would definitely be the S rank version, which does heal your units regardless of the attack they are dealing. So as you can see here on my Tokika's weapon, she does have the SA version of this. When attacking, recover 9.6% damage as HP. So as you can see, there is no restriction for the certain attack that must be dealt in order to heal. With the S rank option, you will be able to heal during fever time. You'll be able to heal with your slide skill, tap skill, etc. It really doesn't matter. As long as you are attacking, you will be healing. So this option here in either A or S rank will be very strong for this event, and I definitely recommend you all to obtain it. So make sure to give your options a shot and see if you do have it lying around somewhere, or maybe test your luck and see if you can roll it. But of course, it might be a bit rough since we don't currently have an options event going on. But I still thought I'd recommend it to you all, and hopefully it does help you guys out. Now, another option that is very helpful, everyone, would be on the armor piece, specifically the third option yet again. As you can see here on screen for my Courtesan Battery, we do have the S rank option. When hit by an attack, recover 33% of damage as HP. So this is very helpful in, of course, healing and sustainability once again for your units. Now, of course, this is an S rank, so it is way harder to roll compared to an A rank, but some of you may have it lying around. You never know. Make sure to check out your equipment and see if you do have it there. It'll be very helpful for this event. But if you don't happen to have it, don't worry too much. The vampirism from your weapon, and of course those low rarity puppets, as well as the supports of Kresnik and or Anemone, Leda, etc., should be enough to survive the level 30 raid. Now, for the full team equipment recommendations, everyone, I would definitely recommend you all to use an attack/agility weapon here on your units. Most importantly, Passionate Mike would be the ideal option. But of course, if you don't happen to have this weapon, then you can settle with really any other weapon. It doesn't matter too much, but of course the agility is very helpful for this raid and should help you out with weak point damage, which is why most players do use Passionate Mikes. Of course, there isn't too much of a difference compared to attack and critical weapons, but of course this is just my preference and what I think it does work best overall. As for the armor piece, everyone, of course you'll be going with HP/defense. Most importantly, the Alchemist Gloves would be the high priority as it does provide the most HP on an armor piece, so you'll want to prioritize the HP stats rather than the defense stat. Now, of course, if you don't happen to have Alchemist Gloves, then you can use other equipment such as the Enamel Suit or Bari's Shawl, or really any HP/defense armor piece. As for the accessory piece, everyone, this really does depend on your characters and whether or not you do need to adjust their stats accordingly based on the attack stat order. But of course, for your supporters, you'll ideally want to use Bari's Talisman of Solace, or really any accessory that does have HP/defense. And of course, for every unit on your team, you'll want to have the S rank increase debuff evasion by a certain percentage. Of course, this is an S rank, so it may be hard to roll. So if you don't happen to have this option, don't worry too much. But of course, if you do, apply it onto your units as it will help out a ton. As for your attacker, you'll definitely want to use an accessory like the alchemy kit, which does provide HP and attack. But like I did mention, if you do need to adjust your supporter stats, you may want to apply an HP and attack accessory onto those units as well, just to stat manipulate for your attack stat order. As you can see here, I do have 4 of my units with the alchemy kit, since I did have to adjust their attack stat. As for the soul card recommendations, everyone, for this event, you can go with change of air for your supporters, which is very helpful, as of course it does apply HP and defense, as well as the add a certain percent of skill gauge on an incoming hit, which does happen to help a ton with killing the boss faster. Now, if you are struggling with sustainability here, I would definitely avoid the change of air soul carta and go with a soul carta like Showtime, as of course it does provide debuff evasion by a certain percentage. And if you don't happen to have Showtime, you can definitely go with the soul carta here on screen, Wake Up Now, which is very amazing as well, as it does have the fire special option, increase debuff evasion by a certain percentage when equipped during a 5-person giant boss raid, which of course is the ideal soul carta for debuff evasion here. So either use Wake Up Now or Showtime. Now if you don't happen to have those debuff evasion soul cartas, then you can definitely just go with any HP/defense carta. As for your attacker units, everyone, we do have the recommendation of Love's Beginning, which does increase weak point skill final blow by a certain percentage, which is a very strong soul carta. And if you did happen to summon up the new soul carta, as you can see here on screen, Are You Ready? It does increase max attack by a certain percentage, so make sure to use this one if you did happen to summon it. Now if you don't happen to have those 2 soul cartas, everyone, we do have other options here, such as Fresh Start. If you are using a tap skill based attacker, such as Love and Hate Davi, etc., Fresh Start will be a great option for her. And of course, we also do have here the collaboration exclusive from the Catherine event, Blessed Be the Lost Lamb, which does increase slide skill crit damage by a certain amount. But of course, we aren't critting during this raid, so this would definitely be a last resort. Now of course, if you don't happen to have any of these soul cartas as mentioned for your attacker, make sure to really use any HP/crits carta, as that should be enough to do it. So that'll pretty much do it for the updated guide here for the Strigoy event, everyone. I do apologize if this video was too long for your liking, but I did want to deep dive into this event, and hopefully the options I did discuss here in today's video did help you out at all with the sustainability, as of course I do know Strigoy is a tough boss here for the level 30 raid, so hopefully this video did help you out by any means. But before you go, everyone, make sure to let me know in the comment section below if you did learn anything from today's video, and of course if you did enjoy it, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as well as leave a like if you guys haven't yet done so already. And of course, check out channel memberships linked down below if you're interested in further supporting the channel, as well as be sure to check out the links to my Twitter accounts and of course Twitch channel linked down below as well. But with all of that being said, I'll catch you all in the next Destiny Child video. As always, thank you all so much for watching.